Ladies and gentlemen, Vice President of the European Parliament, President Cantor, thank you very much for your introduction. Thank you very much for the cooperation between the European Jewish Congress and the European Parliament. Thank you very much for mentioning the decision of the European Parliament to transform the ceremony we are just attending into a binding ceremony for the European Parliament every year, annually, to remember, together with you and other organizations, together with the members of the European Parliament, together with the Commission, with the Council of the European Union, together with the Holocaust survivors, who are the most important guests today of the European Parliament, to install such a Remembrance Day for the Holocaust here in the European Parliament as a duty of our institution. And therefore I will start, President Cantor, with an element of your speech. No, it is not 29. It is 2013. Why it is not 29? You described, absolutely justified, the risks. There is anti-Semitism in Europe. There is a free elected member of a parliament of a member state of the European Parliament asking for registering Jews. This is a shame in Europe. Yes, Jewish people are living in fear in Europe. Yes, there are threats. But ladies and gentlemen, why we are not 29? Because there is a European Parliament. Because there are common European institutions. Because a consequence was taken after the Second World War, after this deepest point of civilization represented by Auschwitz. One consequence was taken, that countries and nations across their borders, and not only their physical borders, across the cultural borders, across the linguistic borders, across the borders of their very heterogeneous past and the very heterogeneous experience of their past, that they across borders create common institutions as a frame to cooperate on the basis of mutual trust. And let's be honest, because it is necessary to say it, as a frame of mutual control, to avoid that one member of the community is passing away uncontrolled in a dangerous direction. And the place where the debate about this heterogeneous interests on one hand and the common solutions, the mutual trust and the mutual control to respect human rights and democratic standards, the place where it happens is here. And therefore, the European Parliament decided to make the day, the Holocaust Remembrance Day, a binding moment for the European Parliament. Because we are existing as a consequence, as a result of the first half of the 20th century. We are historically here in answer to this first half of the 20th century. Because the experiences of the Europeans, the experience of the Holocaust showed to which point people are prepared to go. The evil is existing every day and every moment. And therefore we must be vigilant and prudent every day and every moment. Mutual respect. Respect for individual rights. Respect for the right of everybody of a decent treatment, to be respected as an individual, from wherever he is coming and from which political tendencies he is, or from which religion. The basic element must always be respect to the individual. The experience of Europe in the first half of the 20th century was this total ignorance, this total absence of respect. At the beginning of our ceremony, you saw a photography, this very famous photography of the small boy and this Nazi soldier behind him. Those who know a little bit about German history know that the soldier behind him with his gun was in the 50s discovered and brought to jail and then sentenced and executed by a communist dictatorship. It was the German Democratic Republic who sentenced him to death. A system sentenced, perhaps well justified, this murder, but those who were the judges were themselves dictators. This is the history of our continent. And therefore the fall of the Iron Wall, the Iron Curtain, the fall of the Berlin Wall should not be forgotten. Because a part of our European fellow citizens, and I'm very grateful that Minister Bartoszewski is here, a lot of our citizens suffered another dictatorship and another dictatorship in Europe until democracy, dignity, freedom and respect became the basis for all European countries and nations. There's still one, where is a brutal dictatorship, in Belarus, and I'm here to remember that not all countries of the European Union, not all countries of Europe are free. We have still to fight for democracy, for freedom, and for dignity. And that the last dictatorships in Europe must disappear, must be one of our commitments. Why? So long dictatorships are existing in the world. So long are political system existing, not respecting individual democratic rights. And this absence of the guarantee of individual rights is always the beginning of dictatorship. And the beginning of dictatorship opens always the door for those who argue we are better, we are stronger, and therefore we have the right to kill at the end the other. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, and especially those who are with us today, who survived the Holocaust. Your presence here reminds us, is an appeal to us not to abandon from the idea that this Remembrance Day is not an exclusive one day event. It is a permanent duty every day to be prepared to fight for freedom, to fight for our democracy, to fight for dignity, to fight for respect, and to be courageous. Courageous as Raoul Wallenberg was. To be courageous is very difficult. We are not all heroes. And nobody has the right to condemn those who are not courageous. But those who are strong, and especially those who have a public responsibility, ministers, members of a parliament, mayors, representatives of public institutions, and even of economic institutions, CEOs of big enterprises like directors of movies, novel writers or painters, whoever is in public life representing our society must have the courage in our times to stand up wherever and whenever a racist, an anti-Semite raise his voice, and to tell to him and all the others around, as long as I am here, there is no place for every kind of humiliation of others because of their nation, of their nationality, of their religion, of their belief, of their race, or their political tenets. As long as I am here, the representative of our philosophy of mutual respect, as long there is no place for you. There are in this parliament people considering Auschwitz as an unimportant detail of history. The man is a member of the European Parliament. I would prefer to see him outside the European Parliament. But ladies and gentlemen, he is a free elected member of this Parliament. But the overwhelming majority of members of this Parliament, Moshe, and therefore we are not 29, would stand up, and in case he repeats his humiliation, this undecent word, would stand up and say, leave. You have not the right to stay here. Therefore, I'm more optimistic. Not that there are more heroes, but perhaps a little bit more courageous people than in 29. And to encourage all of us, every day, to fight for our European Union of respect and dignity. Therefore, we decided to install the Holocaust Remembrance Day as a binding day for the European Parliament. Thank you very much.